Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? A gracious good morning to you, good people. It's your girl KB. You know what I do, and you know why I do it. It is Friday morning, May 16th, and it is 2:38 in the a.m. You heard me correctly. Some of y'all are just crawling into bed. You know, back in the day, I have been known to gallivant to the wee hours of the morning, stumble into some local area diner that was open 24 hours, grab a little something to eat, and scurry my happy behind to work. Yeah, in the same clothes that I partied in. So I know some of you watch my videos as soon as I post them. Some of you, are on the East Coast, so there's a time difference. 3 hours to be exact. So I know you see my videos because you're either on your way to work or, sitting staring at that cup of coffee. You get it. But I'm grateful for Friday, man. Really grateful for Friday. It's been one of those weeks where Monday, you start praying for Friday. I want to talk to you about a couple, two, three things. First, the hat. I always wear a hat. But, just like my t-shirts have to say something or my hoodies have to say something, the hat has to say something. I threw out all my team gear. I was a diehard Bills fan. Got it. In the Bay Area. Now, Bay Area is known for the 49ers and the Raiders. Now, I have cheered for the Raiders because I like the smash mouth football style. But I stopped cheering for the Raiders when they announced they were moving to Vegas because they just, I want to say, decimated a whole area of Oakland once they moved. Not that the area of Oakland was all that hot to begin with, but a lot of people depended on those jobs and Raiders activity in the community. So there you have that. And to be perfectly honest with you, I have not watched a football game in forever because when the NFL boycott started, I was there. I have not watched an NFL game since the Kaepernick stuff. When it became abundantly clear that the NFL didn't give a damn about what was happening. Most of the owners are rich white men, Trump supporters, who are trying to keep their money. And I was on the fence when the Junior Seau stuff happened, with the CTE, because I love that old school hit hard football. But, when it got crazy with the protests, I was done. And, I get upset with a lot of folks who are part of the Bills Mafia and all that other stuff. It's like you're supporting oppression. Now, there are very few avenues where we're not supporting oppression in this country. But this is blatant, in your face oppression. And, we do have economic power. Just ask Target. I want you to think about that. That's just my little sidebar message. My hat says, grow through, what you go through. Grow through what you go through. Which has basically been my message this week. I talked about some serious levels of struggle, some epic levels of struggle, some epic levels of hurt for me personally. I talk about it all. That being said, man, I'm in the car, I'm driving to work, and I hear the song, God Can Do Anything But Fail. And it's a upbeat, peppy kind of song. And that gave me cause for pause, y'all. You know how I get. I take one line, and it's like, But the chorus was God Can Do Anything But Fail. And then there's another line that says, with a pause and with emphasis, and He hasn't failed me yet. That part, all of that, it got real. And I started thinking about that, man. I really started thinking about it. I thought about that from the time I parked to the time I walked to my office. And, the thought that came to mind, the thought that stuck, the thought that resonates is that we spend an inordinate amount of time trying to impress other people and wondering what their impression of us is. And very little time wondering about what God's impression of us is as we claim Him, but don't live what we claim. So, I know I'm fallible. I'm human. I'm full of faults and frailties and insecurities that trigger my faults and frailties. And I know at some points I thought about doing dirt. And I'm talking about it as an adult. I think on some levels we all get a little grimy as kids. Boom, here's a grandma quote, when you know better, you do better. And she would say it with such emphasis, Grandmas have a way of saying certain things that just hurt your feelings. They never have to spank you because they just hurt your feelings with words. But when you know better, you do better. And I want to say, why isn't that always the case for adults? We know better. Therefore, we create better ways to get grimy. That part. Is that you? Let's talk about it.